a little bit of moisture. My clay is a little on the dry side, but I'm gonna kind of work that in. So starting with my ball of clay, this is my next pinch pot video. This one is going to be a little ring holder. So starting with my ball of clay, fairly smooth. If you start with an irregular shape, then you have to work a little harder to make it smooth and round. So a little bit different. I'm going to start again by just flattening it a little bit. Now I want to press down this time and leave some clay in the center. So a little bit different than our usual. I think I'll even make this a little bigger. So again, starting with a bit of a puck. So I'm going to leave some clay. Probably you can draw it on if you like to help you remember, but about there, I'm going to leave that. So I'm going to pinch down this part all the way around that centerpiece. And I'm pressing down here. I'm also pulling up a little bit with my fingers. You can see that starting to go up a little bit. Pinching around and pulling this side up, because I don't want it to get too flat. I do want it to be a shallow dish. Now this part in the center here, and I'm going to flip it over a little bit and start by pushing this centerpiece up a little bit, not pushing it too far, but start by making a little bit of indent here. Not that that's going to be hollow or anything, but that just helps get the clay here raised up. And then I'm going to work on pinching, different kind of pinching. And I'm starting this before this part gets too deep, because otherwise it gets hard to get your fingers in there. Bringing this clay up, and it's possible I didn't leave quite enough clay in the center there. Maybe I'll try to push a little bit more. Oh, that worked well. If you have one of these giant eraser things or something else that you can use to help work that clay up in the center. And even though this is the bottom, don't leave it too messy. Bottom of your piece is just as important. Okay, that gave me a little bit more clay. Then I can squish that in. Now I don't want this to get pointy, because once it's glazed then it could be rather sharp. But I do want it to be a nice tall enough piece to hold a couple rings. Now, of course, you could just make your little bowl and then add some clay to the center here, is always an option. I wanted to try to challenge myself to do this pinch pot series using just one piece of clay. But like so many things in pottery, there are multiple ways to get the same result. And then pinching this up. And it's not something that gets moved around a lot or gets a lot of hard use, so this doesn't need a real sturdy rim here. Not that you want it to be, you never want it to come to a point, a little too much water. You never want something to come to a point on the edge, because then the glaze tends to not adhere very well and it can make that top edge very sharp. So keeping it nice and rounded. Again, getting my fingernail marks out of there. And of course this centerpiece, you could sculpt it to be just about anything. A tail of your favorite animal, a cat, a whale, a dog's tail, a pig's tail, whatever, or any other little fancy thing, as long as your rings will fit down over there. If you make a whale's tail or something, make sure that it's not too wide at the top, that you couldn't still get the rings on. A little cactus or something in here is cute too, because then you can hang your rings on it instead of just stacking them in there. So that's always an option. Or a little tree, you could put multiple branches on here. I'm going to keep mine fairly simple. And get the bottom here a little more narrow so that the rings will go down. If it gets too wide too fast, then they're going to sit way up there. Okay, and there we have a lovely ring holder.